Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at unidentified aerial phenomena, or as many know them,
The
UAPs.
APs, yeah.
We're using Ross Coulthart's book, In Plain Sight, as our guide. It's really a fascinating mix of firsthand accounts and official reports and historical documents.
Yeah, Coulthart really goes beyond just the sightings themselves. He dives into like the reactions, the potential cover-ups, and the implications for, well, everything, really.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It is.
So our mission today on the deep dive is to extract the key insights from Coulthart's work, and to, try to do it without overwhelming you with every single detail, every little, piece.
All right.
We just want to give you a clear understanding of the core arguments and the most compelling evidence that he presents.
Yeah, think of it as a shortcut to becoming, like, well-informed on the UAP topic.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Coulthart starts with some early sightings and the recurring theme of potential cover-ups. He shares the story of Annie Farinaccio, who had a close encounter with a triangular craft back in 1991 near Exmouth, Australia.
And it wasn't just any station. This was near a U.S. naval communication station, a key part of, America's nuclear defense system, responsible for sending launch orders to submarines carrying nuclear missiles.
Yeah.
The fact that this happened in such a sensitive location adds another layer of intrigue, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so.
Annie and her friends saw this massive object hovering silently above the ground. They were close enough to see lights on its underside. And later, Annie finds out that two officers who took pictures of this object were detained by U.S. military police.
Oh, wow.
Their photos and negatives and even their camera were confiscated.
Well, this incident, I think it really highlights how governments can shape public perception through like carefully crafted narratives. You see this in the way the military confiscated the evidence and attempted to control the information. It raises questions about what they're trying to hide and why.
Do you think there's a deliberate effort to suppress information about UAPs?
It's certainly a possibility. Coulthart presents a number of cases where evidence seems to have been tampered with, witnesses intimidated, and official explanations changed over time. It's hard to ignore the pattern.
Yeah, that's a good point. It seems that pattern goes back decades. Coulthart links the Farinaccio incident to the Kaikoura Lights case in New Zealand. This was 1978. This case involved multiple witnesses, including pilots and radar operators who observed strange lights maneuvering in the sky.
Yeah.
Despite the compelling radar data and pilot testimonies, the New Zealand Air Force quickly dismissed the incident as like natural phenomena. They suggested it was just squid boat lights or maybe Venus, even though the sightings didn't line up with the planet's position.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
It seems like they were trying to sweep it under the rug. And Coulthart himself admits that at first, he approached UAP stories with skepticism because of the media's tendency to ridicule these accounts. It makes you wonder how many credible sightings have been dismissed or ignored just because people are afraid of being, ridiculed, made fun of.
Right. Yeah. It's a real problem. The stigma surrounding UAPs prevents many people from coming forward. And this fear of ridicule allows the government to maintain a level of secrecy that might not be warranted.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. Let's move on to another event that has kind of become synonymous with this whole UAP phenomenon, the Roswell incident. This event really shaped, I think, public perception of UAPs and fueled the whole debate about government cover-ups.
Absolutely. Roswell is like a cultural touchstone for the topic. We have the initial reports of a flying disc, and then the Air Force says it was a weather balloon, and then the claims of a recovered alien spacecraft and bodies. It's like this tangled web of information,
Yeah.
And the official narrative changing over time.
Right. The Air Force's explanations, they seemed to shift, didn't they? At first, they claimed to have recovered a flying disc, but then later said it was just a weather balloon.
Exactly. And there's also this late emerging testimony from key figures like Jesse Marcel. He was involved in the initial recovery of debris. Marcel later claimed that the debris he originally handled was substituted with weather balloon material and that he believed it was something extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Right. His account casts serious doubt on the official narrative. Then there's Walter Hote, the public information officer at Roswell at the time. Just before his death, he signed an affidavit claiming he was ordered to change the story and that he saw debris unlike anything he had encountered before.
Oh, wow.
The Roswell incident really highlights how difficult it can be to separate fact from fiction, especially when dealing with events shrouded in secrecy. It also raises questions about the motivations behind the government's actions and the lengths to which they might go to control the narrative.
Yeah, definitely.
Coulthart doesn't try to definitively answer what happened at Roswell. but he leaves the reader with a strong sense that it's an open question that deserves further investigation. It seems like there's more to the story than we've been told. Let's shift our focus now to the era of government-funded investigations, starting with Project Blue Book.
Project Blue Book, yeah. Initiated in the early 1950s, is often seen as the official U.S. government response to the growing number of UAP sightings. But while publicly the Air Force was downplaying the significance of these sightings, behind closed doors, there seems to have been genuine concern within the military and intelligence community.
Coulthart uncovers some intriguing memos and reports that suggest they were seriously considering UAPs as a potential national security threat. They were worried about what these objects were, where they came from, and what their intentions might be.
Right, and this concern seemed to have been heightened by a series of significant sightings near sensitive military and nuclear facilities.
One of the most striking cases Coulthart presents is the Vandenberg incident, 1964. This involved Dr. Robert Jacobs, who was filming a dummy nuclear warhead launch from Vandenberg Air Force Base. He captured footage of a UAP seemingly interfering with the warhead in flight.
Wow, so Jacobs, a respected officer in charge of photographic documentation, maintains that he saw a UAP using advanced technology to disable a U.S. nuclear weapon. And his account is just one of several involving UAPs observed near nuclear sites, raising concerns about their potential threat to humanity.
Right. Were they monitoring our nuclear capabilities? Were they trying to send a message? Coulthart also brings up the Rendlesham Forest incident in the UK, where UAPs were allegedly seen near nuclear weapons storage facilities. These cases raise some unsettling questions.
They do. However, it's important to acknowledge that some researchers, like Dr. Stephen Greer, propose a false threat narrative. They suggest that the idea of a UAP threat is fabricated to manipulate public perception and justify increased military spending.
That's an interesting perspective. It seems like we have evidence that suggests a potential threat, but also arguments that suggest a deliberate misinformation campaign. It's a lot to think about.
It certainly is, and this complexity highlights why critical thinking is crucial when examining the UAP issue. We need to carefully evaluate the evidence and avoid jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's crucial to remain objective and consider all angles.
Now, to add another layer of complexity to this, let's fast forward to a more recent event, the 2004 Nimitz encounter. This case, with its multiple radar and visual confirmations from highly trained Navy personnel, really brought UAPs back into the public conversation.
It's a truly fascinating case. We're talking about, not just one, but two fighter jets encountering a tic-tac-shaped craft off the coast of California. And these weren't, fleeting glimpses either. This was prolonged observation with radar tracking and visual confirmation from multiple crew members.
Yeah, and the details provided by the witnesses, especially Commander David Fravor, who piloted one of the F-18s, are incredibly compelling. He described the tic-tac as having, no visible wings or exhaust plumes and exhibiting maneuverability that defies our understanding of aerodynamics.
Yeah, Coulthart really paints a vivid picture of this encounter. The tic-tac outmaneuvered Fravor's jet, disappearing in an instant, only to reappear miles away moments later.
Wow.
It's incredible.
It is. And what's also interesting is that there's evidence that suggests something was detected underwater in the same area where this tic-tac was observed. Some speculate it could have been a submerged craft, may be connected to the aerial object.
Really adding to the mystery.
Yeah.
This case, though, seems to have marked a turning point in the government's approach to UAPs. I mean, the Pentagon's recent release of UAP videos and the Navy's updated guidelines for reporting encounters, this might indicate a shift from dismissal to, cautious acknowledgement.
Yeah, there does seem to be a growing recognition, at least within certain sectors of the military and intelligence community, that these phenomena are real and unexplained, and potentially challenge our current scientific understanding, which is, I think, a really big step.
Right. Coulthart also explores the role of private research in unraveling this UAP mystery. He introduces us to Robert Bigelow, a billionaire who has invested a lot of money in UAP research through organizations like the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS.
Bigelow is a really intriguing figure, a successful businessman who's been very open about his belief in extraterrestrial life. He's funded extensive research into a variety of unusual phenomena, including the infamous Skinwalker Ranch.
Ah, yes, Skinwalker Ranch, the alleged paranormal hotspot in Utah.
Exactly.
Coulthart delves into the more outlandish claims associated with the ranch, things like interdimensional portals and bizarre creatures. It's definitely
It's out there.
It's out there.
But While much of what's being claimed about Skinwalker Ranch remains unsubstantiated, the fact that Bigelow, a shrewd businessman, invested significant resources into studying the ranch, it suggests he believed something genuinely unusual was happening there.
Yeah, it raises some eyebrows for sure.
It does.
Bigelow's NIDS was also involved in the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP. This is the program that was, supposedly shut down, but then became a major point of discussion in all of this.
ATIP. Yeah, it is a central point of controversy. And it's through ATIP that we hear about these metamaterials, allegedly recovered from UAPs, materials with properties that seemingly defy our current scientific understanding. I think to clarify for our listeners, metamaterials are essentially materials that are engineered to have properties not found in nature.
Okay, so we have these mysterious alloys, whispers of advanced technology. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is.
Coulthart does express some skepticism about the claims, but acknowledges the potential implications if they were to be proven true.
Right. Imagine if we had materials that were both incredibly strong and lightweight, or materials that could manipulate gravity or light. The implications for science, technology, and even our understanding of the universe would be enormous.
Now, for another twist in this already fascinating story, Coulthart introduces us to Tom DeLonge. Yes, that Tom DeLonge, former Blink-182 frontman.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, he claims to have deep connections within the UAP world and access to, high-ranking government officials.
Interesting.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
DeLonge's involvement has definitely sparked, I think, both fascination and skepticism. He claims to have been briefed on a secret government program involving recovered alien technology and a potential disclosure plan, even.
Wow, that's quite a claim.
It is. Coulthart examines these claims, referencing the leaked emails between DeLonge and John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's former campaign manager.
Okay.
These emails suggest that DeLonge was, in fact, in contact with individuals within the government and aerospace industry who were discussing UAPs. And there's mention of a meeting between DeLonge and two high-ranking Air Force generals, as well as the head of Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, their highly secretive advanced development division. It seems DeLonge's claims of high-level access might not be entirely unfounded.
So it's like a rock star suddenly became a UAP insider.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
It's a strange world.
DeLonge insists that he was told the truth about recovered alien technology and a government cover-up, so it certainly adds another layer of intrigue to this whole mystery. Coulthart leaves it up to the reader to decide how much weight to give DeLonge's claims.
Right.
Shifting gears a bit, let's discuss the Admiral Wilson memo. Coulthart presents this document as one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for a government cover-up.
Okay, so the memo, it supposedly contains notes taken by Dr. Eric Davis, a respected scientist, during a meeting with Admiral Tom Wilson, a high-ranking official in the Defense Intelligence Agency. Wilson allegedly admitted to Davis that he was denied access to a highly classified program involving recovered alien technology.
Oh.
Yeah. What's especially striking about this memo is Wilson's claim that this program was operating outside of regular oversight procedures, potentially even illegally. This suggests a shadowy group within the government might be controlling access to, potentially world-changing technology.
It's a chilling thought. And to add another layer of validation to this, there's corroborating testimony from Nat Kobitz, the former director of U.S. Navy Science and Technology Development.
Kobitz,
Yeah.
in an interview with Coulthart, admitted to being read into a program involving crashed UFOs, potentially even alien spacecraft. This revelation adds weight to the claims made in the Admiral Wilson memo.
So we have secret programs, whispers of recovered alien technology, high-ranking officials admitting they were denied access. It makes you wonder what secrets are being kept from the public.
Definitely. It certainly raises profound questions about what our governments might be hiding and the implications for humanity if they do, in fact, possess this advanced technology that was maybe derived from UAPs.
Now, for a bit of a detour into the realm of reverse engineering and unsubstantiated claims, Coulthart takes us through the Fluxliner story. This story revolves around Gordon Novel, who claims the U.S. government successfully reverse engineered technology from a crashed UAP to create a craft capable of incredible feats, including faster-than-light travel. I should probably mention for our listeners that reverse engineering is the process of taking something apart, analyzing it to understand how it works, and then potentially recreating it.
Okay, so faster than light travel or exceeding the speed of light, that's a concept that, while fascinating, currently defies our understanding of physics. While Coulthart notes that Novell's claims lack concrete evidence and are largely based on hearsay, there's a curious connection to Dr. Salvatore Pais, a scientist working for the U.S. Navy.
Right.
Pais has filed patents for advanced aerospace technologies that sound almost fantastical, including things like room temperature superconductors, high-energy electromagnetic field generators, and even a hybrid craft capable of operating in the air, space, and underwater.
It's pretty mind-boggling stuff.
It is.
While the scientific community has met these patents with skepticism, the U.S. Navy support for Pace's work raises questions about what they might be pursuing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's like a peek into a potential future where our understanding of physics is completely rewritten.
It is.
Coulthart, through all these different threads of this UAP phenomenon, he challenges our assumptions about reality, technology, and our place in the universe. It forces us to consider the possibility that we may not be alone and that our current knowledge is just the beginning. We've covered a lot of ground today in this deep dive. Government secrecy, incredible sightings, private research, whispers of recovered technology. I mean, it's a lot to digest. What are some of the key takeaways for you? Like, what really stood out?
It's the convergence of evidence from various sources. That's what I find so compelling. We have eyewitness accounts from, credible individuals, military personnel, pilots, scientists. We have radar data, photographs, in some cases even videos. And then you have official documents like the Admiral Wilson memo. It suggests that something extraordinary might be happening beyond what the public knows.
Right. It's like all these pieces are forming a picture, but we're still missing some key elements.
Yeah, we are.
And Coulthart acknowledges that. He says, there's a lot we still don't know. He presents conflicting viewpoints. He highlights the lack of definitive proof in some cases, and he really encourages critical thinking throughout the book.
I appreciate that about his approach.
Yeah.
He doesn't push any specific agenda or try to convince the reader of any one theory. He just lays out the information, the evidence, the arguments, and invites the reader to engage thoughtfully with the material.
He definitely lays out a very complex and multifaceted picture of the UAP phenomenon. It's not just about little green men and flying saucers.
Right.
It's about advanced technology, potential threats, government secrecy, and maybe even the nature of reality itself.
Yeah, what if the reason we haven't seen definitive proof of alien technology isn't because it doesn't exist, but because we simply don't have the capacity to understand it? Imagine encountering something so far beyond our current scientific knowledge that we can't even grasp the basic principles of it.
Yeah.
It would be like trying to explain the internet to someone living in the Stone Age.
That's a really thought-provoking idea. Maybe our current scientific framework isn't equipped to grasp the true nature of these phenomena. Yeah.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of approaching this topic with an open mind, being willing to challenge our assumptions and embracing the possibility that there might be more to the universe than we currently understand.
Coulthart's book, In Plain Sight, has certainly given us a lot to ponder. For our listeners, we highly recommend checking it out. It's a deep dive into the world of UAPs. It's filled with intriguing stories, compelling evidence, and thought-provoking analysis. Who knows? Maybe it'll spark your own aha moment and change the way you view the world.
And remember, this is a journey of discovery we're all on together. Keep those minds open, keep that curiosity ignited, and who knows what mysteries we might unravel.
Until next time, keep looking up and keep asking questions.